All right, let's do it. You know, these beers I've had for my basement for 2.5 years. That was a gift from my brother. No worries. Let's go. Come on.
Hello everybody. So we're here with another episode of Milwaukee Beer Review for you. We're actually excited about it. I'm less excited.
I'm 66.6 repeating. It's exciting though.
Yeah, are you?
I'm missing a third of it.
There's a third of it
Yeah, a
that's
third of
missing.
it I'm missing, but
Son of a bitch. So there's supposed to be 3 B&Es maple stouts here for us from Central Waters. There are only 2 because we broke one in the garage. Look, you put it there, I broke it.
You told me where to put it.
It's a combination. I'm going to give you at least... Look, in the state of Wisconsin, when you get into a car accident, there is a certain percentage of fault automatically given to the person that's hit for being there. This is on you.
Okay. If that makes you feel better, let's just sleep at night. However, I'm excited about what we got.
Yes.
So we move on.
We are pumped. We have done quite a few things from Central Waters on the channel. These are 2 beers that we have not had. There's a third one that I really wish we were having. We're going to stop talking about that right now because I'm just going to continue to get disappointed. So the first one we're having here, Ross, is what?
So this is, I guess, the base would be. So this is the B&E's Trees Maple Barrel Stout. So this is Imperial Stout aged in maple bourbon barrels. It's from Central Waters, as we've talked about, which has their location up in Amherst. They also have the Milwaukee location. I don't believe these are an every year beer. I think it's every few years, or it's few and far between they release these. So I don't see an ABV on these. I'm gonna guess like 12%, 12
between
to
12 and 13.
Yeah, that's about Central Waters standard. So really excited about these though, because I really like what Central Waters does, and I really like maple and beer. So let's get a little nose on it.
Get a little nose on the base maple stout. It smells phenomenal. It smells like a pretty standard stout. There's not a heavy maple character on the nose.
There's a bit of a sweetness there.
There is.
That you would not. So you get a lot of that barrel age that you get going on, but there's that like slight sweetness. I'm not saying it's heavy. I'm not saying it's prominent, but it's there.
This doesn't smell that far off to me from like Goose Island Bourbon County Stout or anything
you're
else.
not wrong.
Like it's not that far off from that.
No.
Which is a really good scent. Just not a ton of maple.
Yeah.
Should we try this thing out?
Absolutely.
All right. Cheers. It's tasty.
So if you've had Central Waters like bourbon barrel aged stout, it's that with a sweetness tick up.
Yeah.
It's full flavored. I'm not gonna say it's decadent. I know we've used that word a lot, but it's not like a thick beer. But it's full flavored.
There's not a lot of maple to this. I think there is a sweetness tick up, to your point, compared to a traditional bourbon barrel-aged stout, but it's not significant. In comparison to a traditional bourbon barrel-aged stout, this is a really freaking good beer. It's really solid. But considering the maple notes I'm expecting, I feel like it's a little bit lacking in that area. I just feel like there's something missing with this. How old is this beer? What year is this?
I believe this is a 2020.
2020. Sounds right.
I'm going to disagree with you a little bit. I think there's more maple there than giving credit for. Personally, I'm tasting more maple. I think the sweetness is there. I think it's not that like heavy like breakfast maple, but the maple's there. It provides a little sweetness. It cuts through the barrel aging and the bitterness that you sometimes get. To me, it's there. I'm not gonna say it's like overly prominent, but it's definitely there and it adds a nice like flavor profile throughout.
Okay, where are you putting this on Untappd?
So if I'm putting this one on Untappd, I'm gonna start actually with a pretty solid 4.25. I really like it. I think it's really solid. I think it's really good. I think they hit the flavor profiles pretty well.
I'm gonna go 4. The reason I'm going 4, it's not because it's a bad beer. It's really, really good. I want more maple.
Sure.
That is the big selling point of this beer. I want more maple. It's not here. If you told me this was just a bourbon barrel aged stout, I'd be like 4.25, maybe even 4.5. It's that good. This is a really solid beer, but I'm going 4 just based on that alone. All right.
What's
so
next?
Up next is the second of 3 beers that we're going to be trying. Wait a minute. Second of only 2 that we get to have.
I've let it go, man.
I can't. I'm so disappointed. So this is the coffee version of this beer. So Viennese Trees, this is the coffee maple stout. So an imperial stout aged in maple syrup barrels with coffee. This does not call out any kind of barrel aging, by the way. So I think we should be clear.
That's fair.
I don't think this is a barrel aged beer. Therefore, this is a coffee maple version of their base imperial stout. So let's get a little nose on this one and see what we think. There's coffee.
Yeah, so it's very similar to the previous one we just smelled, but there's the bitterness that's coming through that coffee. I get a little bit of the sweetness, but it's mainly that bitter coffee coming through.
It's not heavy coffee, but it's for sure coffee there.
Yeah.
It's like a ground coffee note. I'm curious. 2020, it's 2022, almost 2023. We're getting there. Let's see what this tastes like.
Cheers.
Cheers. Oh.
Ooh. Ooh.
The palate is very coffee forward.
Yes, in a good way though. It's very well balanced. I think the coffee is prominent. It's there. But I think what it's doing is I think the maple is balancing out that like harsh bitterness that you get from like a black coffee and giving it like just a twinge of sweetness to really kind of make a really smooth, tasty beer.
It's like a little bit like somebody poured coffee grounds into the beer that we just had. A little bit like that. It's very, very good. Definitely front of the palate is very coffee forward. Out the back, you get more of that mapley sweetness, kind of imperial stout character to it, and the coffee starts to dissipate. But the coffee does linger through the back end as well. It does dissipate though, so it's not strong all the way through. But I actually appreciate that about it. I think that's a really good feature. I think if the coffee was as strong as it is up front all the way through, you'd lose a little bit of that. Really good beer. Strong.
No, everything you just said, no other word. I mean, I think the sweetness does a good job. I think the coffee's really good, but it's strong enough up front, but subtle enough out back where it's just very well balanced. So you're putting this thing on Untappd. Where are you sticking this one?
I'm going 4.25 on this one. I think this is a really good beer, a really good coffee stout. For a few years in the bottle, it's held up really, really well. Similar to the previous one, I wish there was a little bit more maple sweetness to this. Just based on the description and based on the bottle and what this beer is supposed to be. I'm curious what it was like fresh. I never had either of these fresh.
Same.
Or the third one.
Never will.
And we never will. But really, really good beer. Really, really good coffee Imperial Stout.
So I'm gonna also agree. I'm gonna put 4.25 as well, but I think the first one I had was better. So this is 4.25, but not as good as the first one.
Okay.
For everything you just so.
Fair enough. All right. Well, good stuff. We wish we could have brought the pecan one to you, but it is on the floor in my garage right now. So hopefully you enjoyed these two. If you've tried these, let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Check us out on the rest of our social media channels. We are on Facebook. We are on Untappd. We are on Instagram. We are on
Twitter.
Thank you. Also here on YouTube. So like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see all of you in a future episode here on Milwaukee Beer Review.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.